So at One Rental at a Time, we are so blessed to have multiple millionaires come on the channel each week. And it all started with this wonderful young lady, Anna Kelly. How you doing, Anna?
I'm great. Always so good to be here. I cannot believe we've been talking, I think, almost every week for 4 years now.
Yeah, you have an amazing playlist. People need to go check it out. Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for the opportunity each week.
Yes.
I want to step back and I want us to kind of advise 18, 19 year olds, right? So they've graduated high school and we're in front of you and I are on a conference stage in front of 100 or 200 of them, and we're just giving them advice. We're going to play the game of ping pong, go back and forth, but and the topic is we want to help them get wealthy by 30. Let's just put that out there. So
Okay.
what are some things that you might tell that person, or that age group we're in front of? What do you think? You'll start.
The first thing, without a doubt, is to make sure you learn to live below your means while you work to expand your means at the same time. And, that can be done by anybody, anybody's cost of living. I know when I first moved out of my house, I rented an apartment, I bought a new car. I went to Starbucks twice a day. Back then, I probably spent, $10 a day on Starbucks. So I was living check to check, but, spending $10 a day on Starbucks. So I finally wisened up and I bought a condo instead of throwing rent money away. And I cut back on my Starbucks addiction, right? So that's a simple thing that anybody can do is, live below your means, find ways to cut back, and then invest the difference above that into things that are going to produce assets, produce cash flow, and help you to expand your income.
Yeah. The first kind of thing that I would want to talk to the audience with, and it would just be kind of a heartfelt discussion, is that college isn't for everyone, but it is for some people, right?
Right.
College, frankly, again, I have an advanced degree, so 6 years, I guess. Um, there were a couple of classes that fundamentally changed my life, public speaking being the most obvious, that I probably don't get if I don't go to college. And
Hmm.
you can really skill up and learn things. There's also a lot of just junk classes you don't need. I get it. But what I would tell that audience is know thyself. For some of you, college is the right answer. For
Yeah.
some of you, go get a trade. For some of you, go start a business. I don't know what that is for you, but I would want them to hear from me as somebody who has an advanced degree, as somebody who is proud of the fact that my daughter got an education with no student debt, is proud of that. It's not for everyone. I think the mantra of go to school, get a good education, get a good job is for everyone is wrong. It's not. And lastly, there's nothing wrong with a trade. I think one of the things that we'll see over the next decade is trades go up. You can make six figures being a plumber, an electrician, whatever that is. And I think for about a decade we made school the only answer, and I don't
Right.
think it is the only answer. So I would want to probably start there.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. There is such a lack of trades, and I can tell you, being in a real estate business like you, our HVAC guys and our plumbers and our electricians, they're making very, very good money, and without coming out with, six-figure student loans. And I lived for years on rice and beans and beans and rice, as Dave Ramsey says, trying to pay off school loans for my husband's education. And so, some degrees are just not worth the income that you're going to make on the other side. So again, if it's your calling, great, but think about trades. Think about if you're an entrepreneur. A lot of entrepreneurs never went to college, right? And so there's benefits and there's intangible benefits to learning and the environment and networking and the connections and things like that as well. But one thing that I did, and I resented it, to be honest with you, at the time, is my parents said, if you don't know for sure what you want to do, you're going to junior college for 2 years first. So I
Me
went to
too.
a junior college because it was a lot less expensive, and I did 2 years in one, and then I went to a higher level learning institution. And if you don't know what you want to do, go to a junior college if you want to see if it's for you. Not You don't have to go to the most expensive school. In most careers, it doesn't really matter where you went to school, as long as you have that piece of paper, you're
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, totally agree. So
Yeah,
what do
so
you
I
got
think that's a
next?
really
Like,
good one.
yeah.
I would also say, really, your very first investment, if you can house hack, you can get into many duplexes, quadplexes as your primary residence with in Pennsylvania and certain parts of the country and rural areas, 0% down and cover all your closing costs through a USDA mortgage. If not that, the next best is an FHA. And you can buy a 4-unit apartment building like we did for 3.5% down, an FHA fixed 30-year mortgage. Live in that unit for at least a year, maybe two, while you're starting to save money. Your other tenants will pay your mortgage, pay your insurance, and you'll essentially live for free while your tenants are covering your expenses, which allows you to save a lot more money to invest. And if that property goes up in value, or you start working on that property to make it go up in value, then you've created equity with 0 to very little down payment, maybe 3.5%, 5%. And then when you're ready to move, you can house hack, another property and grow your portfolio through house hacking instead of having to wait till you've got 20% down to put down on something, which you have to do in just about any other rental property. So I tell everybody, including my son, his high school friends, his college friends, like, the best thing you can do today is, if you think you're ready to buy something, or you're spending a lot of money on apartment rent, is to find a property that the cash flow from the other units will cover at least your mortgage, and allow you to live well below your means, and start your rental property investing.
Yeah, I think any 18-year-old that wants to be financially free by 30 is going to do a big part of that via house hacking. I mean, again, take your biggest expense and make it zero, or heaven forbid positive.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do. It's I don't have very many financial regrets, but yeah, not house hacking a fourplex in what would that have been, like 1992 or 93 in the Bay Area, is a huge regret of mine. And just think, 3 years later, get
Yeah.
another one. My life would have been fundamentally different. Um,
Absolutely. And even if it's not a multi-unit, my first investment back in 1998, I bought a condo to live in, but my mortgage, taxes, and insurance were probably 2/3 of what it would have cost me to rent an apartment. So it still saved me money. And then I had an asset that was an investment that was growing in value, growing my net worth. And then when I did buy a house, I could rent that property out and it would become that investment property later. So you can do it with a condo, you can do it with a single family house, you can do it with a multi-unit. There's lots of ways to do it. But get started that way, because you will never find a cheaper investment in terms of the down payment than one that you live in and house hack, because of the loans available to you today.
yeah. Kind of my next one is going to be building off your first one, is I would want to get them thinking about hard numbers. I'd probably say something like, how many of you can live on 2 grand a month, or 2,500, or whatever, some number like that. And then I would say the key for you to get wealthy is to live on that number for a decade, because then you're
Wow.
going to be stacking paper. You're going to avoid credit card debt. You're not going to buy the stupid car like I did. I mean, I made 40 grand and bought a $50,000 car. How stupid is that? But
Right.
so again, if you can live at whatever that number is at 18 or 19, if you fix that for 10 years and you work on your craft, you live below your means, you house hack, you can't help but be wealthy by 30. And we're talking wealthy, like never have to work for a job again. It's
Right.
unfortunate this
Right.
stuff is not talked. So that's where I'd try to get people kind of focused. So let's give them one more each, and we'll put this one to bed. What do you think the last one from you would be?
Sure. I would tell you to be very, very careful and don't go into debt for things that you can't afford. You don't need to go into debt for a car, right? You can save up and you can pay cash, unless you can find a way for another podcast to, have a tax advantage way to buy a car, or 0% interest or whatever. But along with keeping your debt number and your monthly expense number down, don't buy a house just to buy a house. Most 19, 20-year-old kids think, I'm going to get married and then I got to buy the house before we can have the baby. And you buy into this idea of success is, I own my own home and I have a car, a nice car payment, and I've got my school loan. Well, you're working. Every hour that you work is just working to pay down the cost of living. And so living below your means includes, don't go into debt for things that you are not ready for. Wait until you have the money to buy it. And I think that'll go a long way. And Michael, the reason is because most people's debt payments are a huge portion of what they make every month. So if you can avoid debt other than real estate 30-year fixed mortgage debt that's covered by rental income, you'll go a long way to building future success, because you'll have a lot more money to save and invest.
I would probably work into that topic. Probably just I'd introduce them to credit cards. I still remember, walking on the college campus of Santa Clara University, and just, people were handing out credit cards and free this and free that. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So again,
Yeah.
I think we have to have that conversation. So my final one can be heard harshly. I don't mean it harshly, but I do say things to kind of cause reaction. And I would basically say, to the audience, think of your 5 closest friends, and I'm going to tell you 3 or 4 of them suck.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of the friends that we have rolling out of our teenage years aren't don't want to be wealthy at 30. They're doing other things. They're doing this, they're doing that. And if you're going to be on a track to getting wealthy, you need to up your game. You need to purposely change your network, right? You need to
Yeah.
reach out to 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds and get in that world. Go to meetups either online or in person. Your network can make a dramatic difference. And it's not your 4 or 5 buddies sitting on the couch, doing what, teenagers do. So I would tell you
Absolutely.
your network sucks. Yeah,
That was going to be my next one, and I'll just piggyback to that because it's
sure.
the same thing. Your success basically flows from what you allow to go into your brain, right? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you listening to? If you want to be successful, you need to, absorb the experience and the wisdom of those who are successful. So today we have a very, digital world. Maybe you're busy, maybe you work, maybe you're going to school at the same time. Maybe you only get to go to a networking group once a month, but you're driving to and from the office, you're sitting and you're exercising, you're out with your friends. Listen to podcasts, listen to shows every single day. Most millionaires read 20 pages a day and listen to some kind of podcast, right, to fill their brain with new information. So your investment of your time is more important than your investment of your money. And so what you do with your time, choosing not to watch Netflix and news all day or HGTV all day, like there's a place for that and enjoyment. But if you spend most of your time, entertaining yourself with stuff that's going to help you grow as an investor through podcasts, you're going to be so much further than most people that are really wasting time rather than investing time into your future.
Love that. Wasting versus investing time. Anna, you put out a lot of amazing stuff on Facebook and other places. Where can they follow you?
Great. You can find me on my Facebook page at Anna Kelly REI Mom and my website reimom.com.
Thank you so much.